You're probably in your living room, on your veranda lazing in your chair, reeling from the Christmas festivities, snacking on a piece of Christmas cake, and sipping a chilled glass of your very own drawn to perfection homemade Jamaican wine. I'm Adrian Atkinson, and it is my pleasure to have shared with you in another season of lights, love and life. We are not about to leave you just yet, so stay with us. The journey continues on Jamaica Magazine.
Good day, I'm Stephen McHugh and this is your GIS News for Wednesday, December 27. Road fatalities now stand at 316 since the start of the year. Up to news time, reports from the Road Safety Unit said 3 persons were killed over the Christmas holiday. On December 22, a female pedestrian was killed along Barnett Street in St. James during a hit-and-run incident. A male pedal cyclist was also killed in a hit-and-run road crash along the Old Folly Main Road in St. Anne on December 24. Also in St. James on Christmas Eve, a passenger in a commercial motor vehicle was killed along the Stonehenge Main Road. While appealing for the motorists involved in the hit-and-run crashes to turn themselves in to the police, Director of the Road Safety Unit, Caenwood, is urging road users to exercise caution.
We believe that for the year 2018, we are going to have to battle again to get the numbers below 300, right? And therefore, we are appealing to persons from now to start thinking about how we can keep ourselves safe on network, keep our family safe, and respect the road code, respect the road laws, and recognize that you don't need to have a police officer over your back for you to do the right thing.
This period last year, 375 persons lost their lives on the nation's roads. And Health Minister Dr. Christopher Tufton is joining the call for persons to practice road safety, informing that traffic crashes represent the 11th highest cause of premature deaths on the island. Dr. Tufton is encouraging persons to drive within the speed limits, use seatbelts and other protective gear, and avoid alcohol consumption while driving. The health minister says more than 10,000 persons are injured annually in road traffic crashes. He says treatment and rehabilitation for injuries put a strain on the healthcare sector and significantly impacts productivity, primarily among young people. In other news, over $1 billion of infrastructural works is to commence within a few days in the West Kingston constituency. Among the projects, in January, dilapidated houses in Javatown will be renovated. This is to complement the construction of a 28-unit housing development in Denham Town to start in February. Another housing solution is to be developed in Rasta City soon after. Member of Parliament and Local Government Minister Desmond McKenzie says the Jamaica Social Investment Fund, JSIF, will continue to collaborate on the upgrading works in the constituency. Under JSIF's Integrated Community Program, improvement works in the communities of Hannahtown, Denhamtown, and Tivoli will continue over the next 3 years. Mr. McKenzie says these are positive signs that the constituency is moving forward since being violently affected by the May 2010 incursion.
Come January morning, we are going to be making a significant change by putting in proper piping system, proper sanitation system, so that the people of West Kingston will no longer have to encounter with sewage water and you have to get up hours a morning just to get water to get a shower.
Mr. McKenzie made the statements at a treat for the elderly of the constituency on Friday. Dozens of senior citizens were feted and presented with gifts at the treat, which was introduced back in 1964. The Ministry of National Security has called for the advance payment guarantee held by Maybury Investments Limited on behalf of O'Brien's Car Sales and Rental. The guarantee in the amount of $213.5 million was requested after O'Brien Car Sales failed to provide the ministry with a detailed statement of the advance paid for the delivery of 200 pre-owned vehicles to the Jamaica Constabulary Force. Only 30 of those vehicles were handed over to the force, while 66 remain on the wharves to be cleared. In a statement, the ministry says it expects Maybury Investments to immediately pay over the funds. Earlier this month, the ministry redeemed the performance security bond in the sum of $42.5 million after O'Brien's failed to fulfill the terms of the contract. 104 residents of West Central St. Catherine have been enrolled in a training program for unattached youth. The program is being spearheaded by Health Minister Dr. Christopher Tufton through his organization Future Hope. It offers certification in early childhood education, allied nursing, web page design, and other vocational areas. With certification from the Heart Trust NTA, an additional $1.5 million is being spent to purchase medical equipment for the nursing students. During the program's launch at the Kingston Town Community Center, Minister Tufton said it represented a great start, particularly for young persons seeking skills training. And finally, a condolence book has been opened in the executive lobby at the office of the Prime Minister for the late Deputy CEO of the Jamaica Information Service, Ian Boyne. The condolence book was opened on Friday and signed by Prime Minister Andrew Holness. The book can be signed by visitors to the OPM. Meanwhile, on Boxing Day, wife of the Prime Minister, Juliet Holness, signed the condolence book mounted at the head office of the Jamaica Information Service. Ian Boyne, who was also Chief State Liaison for the GIS, died on December 18 at hospital following a period of illness. And that's it for GIS News Today. I'm Stephen McHugh. Thanks for watching.
Want to know the law pertaining to renting a house? What about the procedure if you're arrested? Or what is defined as corruption? Then click on the Ministry of Justice website. It has information on every law passed in Jamaica. The House of Parliament portal also has the more recent year's pieces of legislation. The sites are easy to search and the files are downloadable. Make access to justice your business. Know your rights.
From Juliet, the boys, the entire government, and me, have a Merry Christmas and all the very best.
And
the government stands side by side in support of and behind the private sector to drive growth.
you're watching Jamaica House Weekly. I'm Carrie-Ann Smith. In his Christmas Day message, Prime Minister Andrew Holness called on Jamaicans to show the true spirit and values shared by the country, urging them to reach out to the poor, the sick, the disabled, the forgotten and marginalized. He also thanked citizens for their support of government as it worked to build a better Jamaica.
I'm honored to serve you as your Prime Minister. We have engaged in real partnerships. We have had some real successes on some key issues. We have achieved much together in 2017, but we have much more to do in 2018.
Earlier in the week, Mr. Holness revealed that Cabinet had approved a pilot project to retrofit 5 Jamaica Urban Transit Company JUTC buses to use liquefied natural gas LNG. Cabinet approval came on December 18, and the pilot will begin in the first quarter of next year. Prime Minister Holness said the move demonstrated the state's seriousness about energy diversification and efficiency as a means of achieving sustainable economic growth.
The right fuel mix fuels efficiency and economy. From the micro-entrepreneur to the large manufacturer, energy is a critical input. We must ensure that the thrust towards the provision of clean and affordable energy is given priority, and we have carefully examined and put in place a tax structure in keeping with the mandate to incentivize the use of LNG.
Prime Minister Holness was speaking at last Tuesday's launch of Red Stripe's $17 million production line dubbed Line 8, created exclusively for the export market. The company also unveiled its new LNG plant to power its Spanish Town Road facility. Prime Minister Holness used the occasion to reiterate government support of private sector-led economic growth.
We are here to support, to create the facilitating, enabling, and seamless environment so that you can engage in projects that will repatriate your production capacity, substitute for local raw material, and make long-term investments in renewing your capital equipment so you can take a risk on the future.
Prime Minister Holness was plunged into mourning following the loss of 3 friends this past week. On Monday, he expressed a deep sense of shock, loss and regret at the passing of Jamaica Information Service Deputy CEO and Chief State Liaison Ian Boyne. A condolence book was opened at the executive lobby of the Office of the Prime Minister on Friday in Boyne's honor. On Friday, Mr. Holness paid tribute to former Minister of State and Deputy Leader of the Jamaica Labour Party, Enid Bennett. He described Bennett as an exemplary political representative who distinguished herself in service to the nation. And earlier today, Mr. Holness expressed deep regret at the passing of Councillor for the Maypen North Division, Melvin Jones. The Prime Minister remembered Jones, who passed away on Sunday, as a true champion of the people who committed his life and time to their upliftment. And that's how we close out Jamaica House Weekly. Be sure to join us next time for more of the news coming out of the Office of the Prime Minister.
We want a productive Jamaica. We are not productive Jamaicans. Productivity to move forward on this land. Productivity, that's the way to go, we should understand. Productivity is the way to go for all us Jamaicans. Small business, big business, old and young, we are tell every woman and man. We want growth and prosperity for a better nation with a building plan. So we can build our product and sell our product and put more money in our hand. Our economy can rise to a level and build a better nation. Productivity to move forward on this land. Productivity, that's the way to go, we should understand. Productivity to move forward on this land. Productivity, that's the way to go, we should understand. Productivity.
Productivity, pathway to prosperity. A message brought to you by the Jamaica Productivity Center, a department of the Ministry of Labour and Social Security.
Students across the island were invited to exert their creativity in the GIS Heritage Competition. Hear from our winners in this next feature.
Jamaica in 55 years. Now, juxtapose that with a snapshot of where we are now as a nation, celebrating the 55th year of our independence.
The Jamaica Information Service once again unearthed creativity, descriptive and colorful expressions, visions of the past and the present as defined by students across the island in the annual GIS Heritage Competition. This year's competition was built around the theme, Jamaica 55.
Treat up a line, it's a run like a breeze. Girl, underneath she a wash and she please. Engine a run with the fire and coal. Look on the girl with the big nose hole.
Vision is a mental picture of the future. It's an idea of what the future can hold but has not yet happened.
Primary, secondary and tertiary students were invited to write about their vision for Jamaica in 55 years and capture through graphic representation, illustration and photo Jamaica's Emerald Anniversary of Independence. The GIS Heritage Competition was designed to instill the importance of nationalism and cultural identity in students. The top 10 entrants who best executed the vision were presented with certificates of participation, sectional prizes, and numerous gifts. Nail-biting moments, nervousness, tears. The rush of emotions created an atmosphere rich with anticipation as the ceremony moved into the final moments that announced the winners from the respective categories.
I was very excited and I was happy.
She was preparing for it from last year. I'm happy that her hard work paid off.
My inspiration was the people every day that I see on the streets. My challenges were if the sentences sounded right and what was supposed to come next, but it all came out good.
There were small errors, but it was not as big, so it was okay. It was easy for me to do it because I'm a person that is passionate about my country.
Buckland could not make it to the ceremony, but her parents accepted the award in her absence.
We were part of it in the fact that our hands were part of the photograph, the 55 fingers. She's a person that loves to enter competitions. I'm very elated as a parent and I feel God blessed.
Competitors walked away with trophies, cash prizes, resort and dinner reservations, courses from all renowned tertiary institutions, tablets, laptops, movie tickets, gift certificates, and so much more, all courtesy of our kind and faithful sponsors.
We want to thank all the entrants in the essay, poster, and photo competitions. And we really mean it when we say that you're all winners, because you could have decided not to participate, but you did. And it took effort, and it took some courage, and certainly hard work.
Gear up, get ready, keep your eyes peeled and your ears to the ground for more from the Jamaica Information Service.
Respecting yourself, how you carry yourself is very important. You hear me, young men? We take for granted oftentimes as men that people judge you before you even open your mouth. From they look at you, they form a perception. They make up their minds about you. So the question is, when they look at you, what do they see? Understand you might not always agree, but you can respect somebody else's view.
Respect my lad.
Respect my dad.
Yeah, man, respect.
It doesn't take anything to be respectful. And you can never tell the impact you will have just by saying, good morning, please, thank you.
Respect.
So your neatly scissored, folded, taped, ribboned and bowed Christmas gift was your very own eye in the sky, a drone. But with ownership of such a device comes responsibilities. Watch this.
Drones, more formally known as unmanned aerial vehicles, UAVs, or unmanned aircrafts, are used by many persons for various purposes. In recent years, there has been an increase in drone ownership and use in Jamaica, prompting strict regulations by the authorities. Commercial drone users are required to get a special aerial work permit from the Jamaica Civil Aviation Authority, JCAA, each time a drone or other unmanned power-driven aircraft that flies without a human operator on board is to be used. This is important in order to address issues of aviation safety and security, as well as national security and privacy. Operators of drones and other unmanned aerial power-driven aircrafts must apply in writing to the JCAA, and the applicant must provide all details of the intended flight. The Jamaica Civil Aviation Authority mandates that drone users must not fly these devices at a height exceeding 400 feet or 122 meters above ground level. Also, recreational users must not go beyond the maximum range of 1,640 feet or 500 meters, or within 500 feet or 152 meters of an organized open-air assembly of people. Nor should these drones or UAVs be flown over or within 165 feet or 50 meters of any person. The guidelines also demand that persons not operate these aerial devices over a private or public property or dwelling without prior permission. Unmanned aerial devices should also not be operated at nights or during low visibility conditions. Persons are not to use drones or unmanned aerial vehicles to drop or discharge any item to the ground. The Jamaica Civil Aviation Authority's guidelines stipulate restricted and prohibited airspace where drones and other UAVs are either restricted or must not fly. In the restricted zones, drones are not allowed to take off unless a permit is obtained from the JCAA. Prohibited airspaces are designated where no flights by these devices are allowed. Some of the prohibited areas include Jamaica House, King's House, the Police Commissioner's Office, Jamaica Defence Force Up Park Camp, and the Petrojam Refinery. Restricted zones include flight training areas assigned to flight schools and the JDF Air Wing, Newcastle Training Base, and other JDF facilities across the island. There is a 5-kilometer or 3.1-mile radii no-fly zone for drones around aerodromes, as well as Norman Manley Sangsters and Ian Fleming International Airports. The policy in Jamaica is similar to industry practices in North America and the United Kingdom, where permission from the managers of the aerodromes and restricted or prohibited airspaces are sought prior to the issuance of a permit. So, for drone operation at or near aerodromes, communication is made with air traffic control, which will dictate flight times, which is included in the permit to the drone operator. All drone flights in prohibited and restricted airspaces will require a notice to airmen or NOTAM. The NOTAM is prepared by the JCAA and issued to the aviation industry in advance of the date the drone will operate, that is, 3 to 4 days lead time. The Jamaica Civil Aviation Authority demands that UAV users cease operation of these devices once a safety hazard is apparent and should not resume operation until the risk is resolved. All incidents that occur while using these aerial devices must be reported to the authority in order for the cause to be determined and for corrective measures to be implemented. The JCAA inspectors and law enforcement officers have the authority to intervene at any time. So, operators of drones and other unmanned aerial power-driven devices are encouraged to heed the regulations or face the penalty if the matter is brought before the court.
Nutritious food, succulent dishes, superior workmanship, and excellent service. Jamaica is on the go. Let's grow what we eat and eat what we grow. Let's harness the indomitable spirit of our most valued resource, our people. Let's support our local businesses. After all, buying Jamaican means building Jamaica.
The preservation of life, stories and memories has evolved with time. Hieroglyphs, letters, manuscripts, photos and videos. The Jamaica National Heritage Trust has also been preserving metals of the past for the future. Here's how it is done.
Good day, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the headquarters house, home of the Jamaica National Heritage Trust. We're going to take you through some of the ropes in the methods in conservation, so please come along with us. Thanks for joining us in our conservation lab. We have here working with us Mr. Darrington Ferguson as well as Mr. Frank Gale, and we'll be looking at some of the methods they will be applying to different material types for the preservation of our material culture of Jamaica. First of all, we have here some cannonballs that are usually found with some extent of corrosion. Mr. Ferguson is actually removing mechanically some of the concretion from a cannonball, and after he has removed that, then we would wire it. This wired metal object we would then install in our electrolytic tank. In the process of electrolysis, what we are actually doing, we are primarily reversing the process of corrosion. Once it has been electrolyzed, it would look something like this. So we would then proceed to brush to remove any loose rust that would be left on it. We would then put the iron object in some pure water, which we call deionized water, and that would be heated to ensure that the metal itself would facilitate the extraction of any impurities that might be left in the body of the iron. After that, we would dry the iron object. Most times we dry it in alcohol, and that would remove the water from the body of the object. And after drying, we would take a substance we call tannic acid, applying several coats, and it would form somewhat a stable surface for the iron object. And then the final stage is waxing to provide a coating or a lacquer on the surface of the iron object. Here we have Mr. Gale. He's actually applying orthophosphoric acid to remove slight rusting or corrosion from the case of a sword. He is actually using what we call a chemical as well as a mechanical means of so doing. We have close to it the extractor system, which is used to remove harmful fumes from the atmosphere in order to make the environment a much healthier one in which and a safer one for us to work. Lead corrodes by forming mainly lead sulfide and lead carbonate. So we would be soaking it first of all in ammonium acetate, and that would basically remove within a few hours the lead carbonate. In order to remove any residue of ammonium acetate that might be left on the lead, we would then rinse it quickly for a short time period. Just rinse it in a bath of a very dilute solution of hydrochloric acid. If there are any corrosion left at that stage, then we would remove that mechanically, either with very likely with a glass bristle brush. After that, we do as we would with the iron. Coming over here now, we have copper or copper material. We have been soaking this copper in a substance we prepare in the lab, which we call alkaline Rochelle salt. The alkaline Rochelle salt will remove from it largely what we call bronze disease. So we soak it in the solution. The chemical will dissolve the bronze disease. After that has been dissolved, then we would rinse in, for example, a dilute solution of sulfuric acid to remove any slight impurities or corrosion product that might be left there. After that, we will, as we do with the other metals, ladies and gentlemen, I hope you were well informed by the information we've imparted today, and you're welcome to join us at any time, particularly at our heritage sites. And when you see our heritage sites, you see the artifacts that are there, you will appreciate to a greater extent the effort that has gone into its preservation.
We never say goodbye on Jamaica Magazine because our stories continue on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and of course our Apple and Android apps. Don't be strangers. Let's keep the link strong until we meet here again. On behalf of the entire GIS team, do take care and see you later.
This has been a production of the Jamaica Information Service, the voice of Jamaica.